you see all these people in big clubs and you see that they're mainly male oriented. I think women are missing out, like, hugely, and I think because it can be really intimidating for being a woman in cycling. So taking that barrier out and being able to join a group where only you just leave with a smile and feeling confident. So Breeze rides are women-only rides. It's really easy to get involved. You just have to sign up for free. Anyone can join, no matter what shape, size, what diversity, anything. As long as you've got a bike, you can come along. I think it's much more about the community and the social aspect than it is just about getting out on your bike as well. Everyone is so welcoming. That's one thing I would say is everyone's so lovely. They greet you with a smile. They're so incredibly supportive. They're a good laugh as well. We always smile and chat. That sense of community is kind of really embedded in Breeze rides. So I was 28 when I got my diagnosis. Diagnosed with cancer at that age is quite a surprise. It came out of the blue. Having to go through chemo and all the treatment that I had, so I lost my hair, and I tried to keep positive through the whole thing, but it was hard. You know, like doing Halloween costumes with a bald head. I thought I might as well take advantage of that. But the one thing that I found that was consistent was the cycling. I could go out and, you know, have a little toddle down on my bike and freewheel, and I felt like me again, and I felt like I could go out and just take a sigh of relief, and for just 1 or 2 hours I could just be me again. Sorry. I feel like just for 1 or 2 hours you could get out on the bike and I felt like me and I felt free, but it also brought me so much joy and so much happiness, and when I was on my bike I felt like I was in control, and I think that was a big thing. And I was like, this is my time, this is for me, and this is my enjoyment. I volunteer because I want to give back exactly what I've got from cycling, so that they can enjoy it and get the same sense of freedom. I just think it's such a great thing to be involved in. I think the main aim of Breeze is to encourage women to have confidence to cycle. It doesn't matter what experience you have, you can get on a bike, and I think that's a really powerful tool to give a woman as well, is that confidence in their ability. No matter if you're just on a trike or a recumbent, it doesn't discriminate. It's available to everyone, it's easy accessible, and even if you have the best bike in the world or the bike out of the garden shed that you haven't ridden in 3 years, everyone can cycle. And everything's relaxed, it's not serious, we take our time, there's nobody, we don't leave anyone behind. And I think that environment of, meeting other people that are just there for the same reasons, to have a good time on bikes, that's it. That's what it comes down to. We want you leaving with a smile.